I watched in horror as the HOA president grabbed my 5-year-old autistic daughter and threw her off a bridge. She didn't know one thing. I'm the county sheriff. The scream shattered my morning. Get away from there. Right now. I froze. My coffee cup slipped from my hand and crashed onto the kitchen floor. I ran to the window, my heart already pounding before I even knew why. Behind our house, near the narrow creek, my 5-year-old daughter Sophie was sitting on the grass. She was flapping her hands softly, humming to herself. That sound, that rhythm, it calmed her. Sophie is autistic. She doesn't talk much, but she understands more than people realize. Loud noises scare her. Sudden anger overwhelms her. But flowing water? That makes her feel safe. Every single morning, Sophie sat by that creek. Same spot, same routine, same peace. Until that woman showed up. Margaret Ellison, the HOA president. She was storming towards Sophie, her heels digging into the dirt, arms waving like she was attacking the air itself. "You can't be here," she shouted. "This is private HOA property." Sophie looked up with wide brown eyes. Confused. Scared. She didn't understand why a stranger was yelling at her. I bolted out of the house. "Hey, stop," I yelled, but I was too far. Margaret reached Sophie first. She grabbed my daughter's arm hard. Sophie cried out, a sharp, terrified sound that cut straight through me. "Let go of her," I screamed. Margaret ignored me. She dragged Sophie toward the small wooden bridge that crossed the creek. Sophie's little pink shoes scraped against the ground as she struggled to keep her balance. My daughter was wearing her favorite yellow dress, the one with tiny flowers. She was trembling. "Daddy," she cried. That word broke me. Margaret reached the bridge. Her face was red with rage. "This neighborhood has rules," she snapped. "And kids like this don't get special treatment." Before I could reach them, she shoved Sophie forward. My world stopped. The bridge wasn't tall, maybe 6 feet, but for a fragile 5-year-old, it might as well have been a cliff. Sophie screamed as she fell. Splash. Cold water. Rocks below. I jumped down without thinking. Sophie was soaked, shaking, her small hands clamped over her ears as she rocked back and forth in panic. Her lips were turning blue. I lifted her into my arms. "It's okay," I whispered. "Daddy's here." She clung to me like she was afraid I might disappear. I looked up. Margaret was standing on the bridge, arms crossed, smiling. "You should control your child," she said coldly. "This is a community, not a place for problem kids." Something inside me snapped. But Sophie needed me more than revenge, for now. I carried her home, dried her off, wrapped her in her favorite purple blanket. She kept humming, but this time it wasn't peaceful. It was scared. When my wife, Emily, came home from the hospital, she broke down, crying. "She hurt our baby," Emily whispered. "Yes," I said quietly. "And she has no idea who she just touched." Margaret Ellison slept peacefully that night. The thought made my hands clench into fists, while my 5-year-old daughter woke up, screaming every few hours, while my wife sat on the edge of the bed, trying not to cry, while Sophie flinched at every loud sound. Margaret slept like nothing had happened. She thought she had won. She thought she was just another HOA president who had handled the problem. She had no idea what she had started. Sophie didn't want to leave the couch the next day. She kept her knees pulled up to her chest, rocking slightly. Her favorite cartoon played on TV, but she wasn't really watching. When I suggested going outside, her hands flew to her ears. "No, no bridge," she whispered. That crushed me. That creek had been her safe place, and Margaret stole it from her. Emily held my arm tightly. "We can't let this go," she said. "If we do, she'll hurt another child." She was right. People like Margaret don't stop on their own. They escalate. I didn't confront Margaret again. Not yet. Instead, I listened. I knocked on doors. I asked questions. And slowly, the neighborhood's mask fell off. An elderly woman told me Margaret once screamed at her for sitting too long on a shared bench. A father said Margaret threatened to call CPS because his autistic son had a meltdown in the parking lot. Another family said she tried to fine them for having too many medical deliveries. This wasn't about rules. It was about control. Margaret didn't see neighbors. She saw targets. Then I found something that made my blood run cold. The HOA rules. I read them line by line. Twice. There was no rule about children being banned from the creek. No restriction. No safety clause. Nothing. Margaret had lied. She invented authority and used it to justify violence against a disabled child. That changed everything. The HOA meeting was scheduled 2 weeks later. Margaret walked in like a queen. Navy suit. Perfect hair. Cold smile. She spoke first. She slipped, Margaret said calmly. I tried to help her. Her father panicked and exaggerated the situation. People nodded. Some even looked uncomfortable, as if they wanted to believe her. Then I stood up, and the room shifted. Mrs. Jenkins spoke first. Her voice shook, but her words were sharp. I saw Margaret grab that child, she said. She dragged her. She shoved her. Margaret rolled her eyes. Then I played the recording. Her voice filled the room. Kids like that are a burden. They don't belong in normal neighborhoods. You could feel the air leave the room. One board member whispered, "Oh my God." Margaret stood up screaming. That recording is illegal. He tricked me. I stayed calm. Actually, I said, it was recorded during a public HOA interaction. Completely legal. That's when a vote happened. Unanimous. Margaret Ellison was removed immediately. She laughed bitterly. You think this matters? She sneered. I'll destroy you all. That's when I reached into my jacket and placed my badge on the table. My name is David Morrison, I said evenly. I'm the county sheriff. The silence was absolute. Margaret's confidence cracked. Just for a second. And what you did to my daughter, I continued, was assault on a minor. Her face went pale. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. 2 days later, she was arrested. Not by me, by another officer. No favoritism, no shortcuts. The charges were serious. The news station showed up. Neighbors watched as Margaret was handcuffed on her own porch. The same porch where she once fined people for unsightly decorations. Now she was the embarrassment. Margaret never apologized. Not once. In court, she blamed Sophie. Blamed us. Blamed bad parenting. That sealed her fate. The jury didn't deliberate long. Guilty. The sentence echoed through the courtroom. Jail. Probation. Mandatory service with disabled children. Therapy costs paid. Margaret screamed as she was led away. No one listened. Sophie still struggles sometimes. Healing isn't fast, but the community changed. The creek area was turned into a safe space. A bench was installed, a sign placed gently beside it. This space belongs to every child. Sophie sat there again for the first time months later, humming softly, hands flapping, at peace. I stood nearby, not as a sheriff, but as a father, and I made myself a promise. No bite, no title, just this truth. Anyone who hurts my child will face everything the law has. Because Margaret didn't just mess with an HOA rule. She messed with the wrong daughter.
The story's over. Now let's get real. Imagine standing there on all that land, every inch legally yours. If you were in the owner's shoes, what would you do? Let them stay, sell the homes, or pull some other wild move? Drop your answer in the comments and let's see who's the boldest.